worst day of Peter's life was the day the cat talked back. The cat was a black and white plump cat with a lazy disposition named Bubbles. The day that the cat talked back was the day that Peter's fiancée Jennifer was breaking up with him. She came by in her normal perky self to drop off a key, and she left behind some utility bills that she felt he should pay instead of her. "You're just not growing as I am," she said sweetly, as she grabbed the ass of her new boyfriend, who you could say at that moment was growing. Later at work, his boss called him into his office to inform Peter that he was officially being put on probation. Probation being business jargon to inform your employees that you could be fired at any minute. Roderick Pegg was an ex-Royal Marine and who believed that every business day was an opportunity to reenact the D-Day invasion of Europe. "Piss poor performance, Peter," roared Roderick. "First, you're late for a meeting with our top client, and then you go and insult his product line. I have grave concerns regarding his company's use of fracking." Peter looked at the floor, then he looked at the ceiling. He was finding it hard to keep eye contact with Roderick. "I don't know about your hippy-dippy granola-eating friends. Fracking is a growing industry and one that is worth millions to our top client and to us." After his meeting, Peter went home. When he arrived home, the apartment was deserted. All that was left was a transistor radio, a note from Jennifer, and the blasted black and white cat Bubbles. Jennifer would be back in about a month for Bubbles. At first, he didn't notice that Bubbles was speaking to him. He had thought it was a voice coming from the radio. When he did realise that it was Bubbles speaking to him, he did what any middle-aged male would do. He froze with shock. It wasn't so much what Bubbles was saying to Peter that horrified him. It was more what he was saying to Peter. "You're the most miserable little shite of a man any self-respecting cat ever did have to mind." Strong words coming from a cat. "There are $20 disease-ridden, flea-ridden whores with more self-respect than you," purred Bubbles. Peter stood there frozen, hoping that this dream would end soon, where a cat was speaking to him and insulting him with brutal detail. "Well, are you going to say anything, or are you just going to stand there moping around in the corner like a big girl's blouse?" purred Bubbles at Peter. Peter was afraid to turn away from Bubbles. He had read somewhere that it was important to keep eye contact at all times with feral animals, for they will pulverize you in a moment. Then Peter had a revelation. This was his girlfriend's fat cat. Not some huge jungle puma cat. To be precise, ex-girlfriend's cat. And I'm not fat, just pleasantly plump. It hurts me that you think that, purred Bubbles. "You can read my thoughts." "All talking cats have the powers of telepathy. We can hear all your thoughts," purred Bubbles. Bubbles' bad manners were starting to grate on Peter. Peter had a thing where he believed good manners was very important. "Ah! I didn't pick you. Jennifer left you here." "Oh, come on, Peter. Rub my belly. Come on," said Bubbles. "No, I won't rub your belly." "Oh, just give me a little scratch. Oh, a little tickle. Oh." "No, I've had enough," said Peter. I've had enough of talking cats, girlfriends who break your heart, and angry bosses. I'm going for a pint. So Peter took off out the door and slammed it behind him to go to the pub. Bubbles turned over and decided with his glassy tongue to lick his hind leg. He decided to turn over and go for a nap for 20 minutes. When Bubbles did eventually wake, he thought, I better go after this clown of clowns before he gets himself in trouble.